What's up guys, Sinclair Photos here, and I am back, and today behind me, as you can see, is my 2013 Scion FRS. And today I wanted to film a full-on review for you guys, let you know what my opinion has been about my ownership of it for the last 3 months. Hop inside, drive around, and just tell you my experience and what I like about the car, what I hate about the car, and a couple things I've learned about the car, and tell you why you should buy one if you're looking around for your first car and this is a possible contender. So come along with me on this full-on review of the 2013 Scion FRS. So back in 2012, 2013, Scion, Toyota, and Subaru wanted to make a car, but not really jack up the price and make it super expensive to where no one could buy it. So they put all their money and intel together and made this, the FRS, BRZ, and Toyota GT86, which all of them share parts, which is pretty funny because a lot of people think the BRZ is the best of the best, and if you buy an 8.6 or an FRS, you're doo-doo compared to the other guys, but that is where they are wrong. This thing has more Subaru parts than I've seen any other brand on it, and I'll show you a couple of those in this video. But I just wanted to say I got this car 3 months ago with 68,000 miles on it, and I've had it for 3 months, and I put 1,000 miles on it a month. So I'm roughly around 71,000 miles, and I have done a couple modifications. As you can see, I have done the Spec D headlights, which I think are the best looking aftermarket headlights for the car. And then I believe they're called the Lumen taillights. They're kind of the Lamborghini Aventador style taillights, as you can see there, which I think are amazing. I got these smoked out ones, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next. There's a lot of big plans for this car, but without further ado, let's hop inside because it's kind of hot out here. Let's talk about some of the stats of the FRS, BRZ, and GT86. So my Scion FRS, along with all the other ones, come with a 2-liter 4-cylinder boxer engine from Subaru and has a roughly 151 pound-feet of torque and pushing around 200 horsepower. Now, the 200 horsepower is admittedly a little bit less than everyone was expecting from this car, but no worries, there are lots of aftermarket modifications that you can do to get that up in the 300, 400, and if you're brave, maybe even the 500 for this car. It gets a little sketch up there when you're going fast, and in the rain, you might want to watch your back end on this one. But I'm very happy with it right now. It's a great daily. I haven't done anything to the engine yet, which is going to be probably the last amount of modifications we're going to do. I'm thinking like turbo, because the supercharger just isn't really my style for this kind of car. I'd prefer that more on like a Mustang or a muscle car of some sorts. But I'm in love with this car. Driving it every day for the past 3 months has been exactly what I thought it was going to be. This thing has been my dream car for a long time, sub 100,000. But once we get above that, it gets like wide body GTR, Aventador, such and such. So, but we're going to worry about the FRS for now. So let me tell you a couple things that I found out while driving this car that are pretty interesting. So one thing I noticed about this car is that there are these settings over here in this corner about you can change from miles per hour to kilometers an hour, and that's it for that one. And then odometer, you got your trip B, odometer, and that's it for that one. But I also noticed that it says your temperature, your miles per gallon, your average miles per gallon, and your rev. Now, I'm not really too sure what this one does, because when you rev it up, it doesn't change. But I know if you hold it down, a red light appears up in this corner by the 8, and I guess it's kind of like a rev limiter, but it's a light up, so that's kind of cool. But one thing I noticed that it doesn't have is it doesn't tell you how many miles you have till empty. I've gone through all my settings, nothing tells you how many miles it is till empty. So once that yellow light comes on, which I just filled up the car, so it's not going to come on for a little while, you're kind of roughly guesstimating about 20-30 miles till you're out of gas. So I'd keep that in mind if you're wanting to buy this car. Now, I got the automatic one. A lot of people weren't so happy about that, but I feel like that's the best thing for me to get day to day, because I don't want to be stuck driving manual in the rain in Houston traffic. So all automatic FRS and BRZs come with these paddles. I really like them. They're kind of fun to play around with, and if you ever want to be a race car boy, they have that option. I also do have an aftermarket kind of radio stereo display. It's touchscreen, and I also have a sub, but we're not going to play some music because I don't want to get copyright struck. And we got all these things under here: your air direction, your air speed, and your hot or cold. One thing I did notice in this car is that when you turn this up all the way, it gets cold very fast. So I really did like that about this car. Now, if you're wanting to swing it, this is going to be your best friend. And there's a couple weird things you can do with this one. To turn off the traction control, obviously, you can hold down traction control off, or you can do sport, or you can do both. And when you do both, up here, you come on with the traction off, and then another thing for traction off, and then VSC Sport, which I don't really know what that means, but this is not exactly how to turn traction off. This turns it off somewhat, about 40% I'd say, and because I've tried to swing it like this a couple times, and it just locks up. You can't get the back end out at all, and it's no fun for anyone. So I've tried to look up a couple videos, but no one really does a good job of explaining it. People said there's a pedal dance you can do where you push the brake down, pull the parking brake, push the brake down, pull the parking brake, and repeat it a couple times in a certain sequence. But I found out one thing you can do. I'll show you in two screens right here. You hold, or you get both of them off first, and then you hold them same time, 3, 4, 5. And when you look at the heads-up display, the VSC Sport turns off. That is when you know your traction is 100% off and you can get this thing sideways. I found that out last weekend, and we had fun with some donuts. So if anyone is looking how to swing their BRZ FRS or 86 and don't know how to turn the traction off, that is how you do it. Another thing about this car that I did not realize that was that small is the back seats. They are pretty much non-existent, even though they have two things cut out for them back there. I can't fit back there, my brother can't fit back there, none of my friends can fit back there unless you lay down horizontally across the two back seats and scoot the passenger seat up a bit. So I wouldn't recommend buying this car if you need to carry around a family. This is like a two-seater pretty much, and mine will be a two-seater pretty soon because I'm gonna take the back seats out and put in a roll cage. So that is pretty exciting. But yeah, don't buy this car if you need to cart things around. The trunk space is also non-existent as well. We're gonna go ahead and drive a little bit so I can give y'all the estimation of how this feels with the power that is being put down around the 205 horsepower. Let me tell you, it's fun, but it's no V8, no V6, that's for sure. But it sounds pretty good with an exhaust off. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out. So I'm going to come out on this road right here and absolutely give it the beans. So that was like 4th and 5th gear all the way through. Felt pretty good. A lot of people have complained that the power really kills it after the 3,000 to 4,000 RPM mark, which, I mean, I don't really feel that much, but I can kind of tell. But once you get up like the 6, you're already going like 80, so you're fine. Oh look, a brother. Oh, he's got an exhaust on his. That sounded good. Another pretty funny thing I've noticed since I bought this car is everybody else has one of these. It's really funny because like I'll be out, you'll see 3, 4 of them driving on the highway, you'll see 2, 3 of them parked wherever you're going, and everyone just waves. Everyone's so friendly in this community. I love it. I've never really had anybody be mean to me because I've had an FRS, not a BRZ or an 86. But I don't really know what to call this car because Scion went out of business. So I guess this is a technical 86, but I'll show you a couple things that suggest more Subaru vibes rather than a Toyota or Scion. Suspension in this car, very good. It's a little bit more bumpy than my Golf I had, but I guess it's more race car-esque. The Golf was not any means a race car. That thing was slow. It sounded pretty good though because I had an exhaust on it, but this thing makes me feel like I'm a race car driver driving around a little go-kart all around town all day long. Suspension's fine. The seats are kind of uncomfortable for those long road trips because when I had to drive it back from Austin to Houston, my back was hurting, but I feel like I've got used to it. I can deal with it now every day. I'm in this car probably 3 to 4 hours a day, driving around, doing things, running errands. I've loved every single second of it. Ending our journey, I'll just go ahead, throw it right here real quick and explain a couple more things about this car. One of which, whenever I go home and I park in my driveway, these doors have almost no like hydraulic thing. You can see down there, it's just that rod. So if you're parking on an incline, the door is gonna come back down and hit you, which I've had happen a couple times. See, look, we're going and then boom, door opens back up. As we step out of the FRS, I just wanted to point out, this car, unlike a lot of other cars, has a gas cap lever. You pull that up, shut the door, and that is the only way you can open your gas cap. I had no clue that was the case, and the first time I tried to get gas, I was very, very confused. So now let's pop the hood, and I will show you guys a couple sneaky little things that Subaru and Toyota threw in this design to lower the cost for them, but also get some free advertising. So to pop the hood, you come under here and then pull the lever that is just right here. Boom. The hood opens up. And there's just a simple little latch under here. Right here. Whoop. Now these cars, you have to prop it up with this pole. So I'm gonna do that real quick. So a couple things I wanted to point out, as you can see, it has a Toyota Subaru motor, which is very interesting. Not a Scion motor, a Toyota and Subaru Boxer engine, which is very, very cool. Another thing I've just found out recently is that the windshield wipers actually have the Toyota logo on them, which is very interesting. I don't know why they wouldn't just put Subaru ones on there, but all of the wiring components for the headlights I did in my install video had the Subaru on them. We have the Toyota 86 badge on the side. We have the Scion FRS badge on the back. And actually, if you watched my exhaust video where I straight piped this thing, on the exhaust muffler right up under here, it says Subaru. So I really don't know what to call this thing. It's kind of a mishmash of every brand that put in their time, effort, and money to make these three cars possible. So now the question's up to you. Which one will you buy? The FRS, the BRZ, or the Toyota GT86? Or will you go a different route? I hope this video was helpful, educational, to kind of enlighten you about this car and how it is when you buy it, drive it, and have it for a little while. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys have any cars in the Houston area that you would want me to review, please drop a comment or send me an email. Let me know what's up. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel and want to see more FRS content, and I'll see you in the next video.